Thank you guys, bye, bye. And I have an upgrade, guys. What do you think? Does it suit me? Please let me know which hat you prefer, my old one or this one. In the comments down below, please. Okay, I changed my hat. I changed my hat hoping that people in Norway will not recognize me, because yes, it's happening, guys. Actually, people in Norway stopping me on the streets asking if it's my YouTube channel. Yeah, it's mine. This video deserved to be on this channel for ages. And today, finally, guys, let's compare Norway and Sweden. And today we're in Stockholm. Saying Sweden and Norway, I mean Stockholm and Oslo, because during these 2 weeks I visited both capitals and I have something to share with you guys. Let's see who's gonna win. And right away, how we start our perfect day in Nordic countries. So similar. Number one. Also guys, if you don't mind, can you please like this video? It will make YouTube algorithm really happy and me even happier. Thank you so much. Mwah. Love you. So today, let's compare Sweden and Norway, because both nations saying that they're totally different, but are they? Are you guys? Let's find out. And life story for you right away. I spent about 3 years living in Norway and I have lots of friends here. I was working here, so I do have some colleagues. And I met my colleague for dinner yesterday and he was telling me that his company was purchased by another company coming from Denmark. And I made a joke. So now your weeks have numbers, because it's a well-known fact that people in Denmark, they're giving the numbers to every single week of the year. Yes, they don't have dates, they have number of the weeks. He laughed at me, haha, yes, so now we're calling the weeks by numbers. And after that I said, well, fair enough, it's not too bad, at least you were not purchased by Swedish. And he responded, I would have resigned. By the way, do we have Swedish people here? Guys, are you from Sweden? Any of you, please let me know in the comments down below what you think about Norwegians, and especially if you have any jokes about them. I'm so curious to know. Please guys, share it with me. Let's laugh together. And I promise you, if you Swedish people make enough comments under this video, I promise you to take another video about what Swedish people thinking about Norwegians. Oh my god, that's gonna be so much fun. And thank you so much, tusen tack in advance for all your comments. And the first thing I want to discuss with you is do not go outside without proper clothing. When I was collecting some information for this video, in one article on the internet, I found this amazing phrase. We have a saying here in Sweden, there is no bad weather, only bad clothes. I was like, what? You're calling this a Swedish saying? Seriously, guys? Okay, we will discuss modesty and jantaloven later in this video. But for now, let me tell you something. It was Alfred Wainwright who wrote, there is no such thing as bad weather, only unsuitable clothing, in 1973, in his book, Coast to Coast. And Alfred Wainwright was born in Lancashire, in England. But okay, I give you that. The phrase, there is no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing, you will hear all around Scandinavia. And in Norway, you will hear it all the time. Do you want to experiment? Okay, I'm giving you that. Complain to any Norwegian that you feel cold. And I guarantee in 95%, the first thing you will hear will be, there is no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing. And then will follow a very typical Scandinavian advice. Put some more layers on. Yes, your clothing is extremely important when it comes to travel to Nordic countries and especially winter time. Very important, guys. very important. Next one is my another favorite, and let's talk about public transport and sitting next to somebody else in public transport in both Sweden and Norway. Never ever sit next to somebody on a public transport if there are some other seats around available. Both Swedish and Norwegians are absolutely not happy to start a conversation with total stranger, especially sitting on the bus. So sitting down next to someone on the bus or on the train when there are plenty of private seating options available. In both countries, Sweden and Norway can be seen as a borderline act of aggression and will be considered super rude. Trust me, it will be super awkward for them, and they might even hate you for the rest of their life. Guys, Norwegians, especially those of you who live in Oslo, guys, what exactly happened with my favorite stage next to Grand Hotel, which used to be here? Why do we have Mermaid now? Well, I'm not really sure how to feel about it. Yes, that girl was my favorite stager here in Oslo. Okay. Freya. The only reason I was passing by Grand Hotel is my Freya chocolate shop. And this is how happiness looks like. Happiness. Another super huge difference. In Sweden, we have Kex, the most popular chocolate, and in Norway we have quick lunch. I tried both. Well, I like both. And which one is my favorite? Taste of happiness, and it doesn't taste like Kit Kat at all. No. Next thing I would like to discuss with you is the idea of not thinking that you are better than anyone else. As it's in some cultures, it's a typical thing to think this way. As I already mentioned it in my previous video about Sweden, even if you're the best thing in the world and you're the coolest achiever on the planet, Swedish people have inherent distaste for everyone who is trying to brag about themselves or about their accomplishments. Exactly 100% the same with Norwegians. Janteloven is a very important unwritten law here in Norway. It basically says you should not think you're better. It just means never ever be cocky, no matter how professional or how rich you are. Our number next, don't forget to pay your share on the tab in the bar. After a long working week, Swedish people love going to the bar with their colleagues and get some steam out, having a couple of drinks. Yeah, just a few. Or 10. And if in Sweden, for any reason, you forget to pay your part of the drinks, your Swedish colleagues will be absolutely mad at you and will keep reminding this to you forever, or for the amount of time you're staying in that company. That will never ever happen in Norway. As there is no tap culture, there is no sharing drinks culture here. You're buying your drinks, you're paying for your drinks, and be happy. Just to let you know, buying a round of drinks for 4 people in Norway can easily cost you an equivalent of return flight ticket from the US and back. I can tell you right away that prices in Norway will be at least 2 times higher than prices on alcohol in Sweden. And this is why lots of fellow Norwegians traveling all the way to Sweden with their cars to buy alcohol, tobacco, as it was confirmed by them it's twice cheaper. Lucky Sweden. I told you so many times before, guys, you're not coming to Norway to have drinks. You're coming to Norway to get outdoor and go hiking. For the drinks, I highly recommend you choosing another country. Number next, and let's talk about the lines, the queues in both countries, Sweden and Norway. In Sweden, it's also unwritten law, never ever cut in front of people in the line. Swedish people, exactly the same as British people, have this weird habit of queuing for stuff. And even weirder thing to believe in insanity of such queue. So cutting that line might be one of the rudest things to do in Sweden. Norwegians view the queues in a very similar way as sprinters view the starting blocks. When waiting for a public transport, all the Norwegians will stay in an orderly manner until the bus comes into view. Then Norwegian will spring to life and charges towards the front of the queue, barging his way on regardless of whether or not someone wants to get off. That's probably my favorite one. I mentioned also in my previous video about Sweden and never talk and never ask anyone how much money they make. Most Swedish people will be absolutely horrified if you ask them directly how much money they're making. I guess this is just not something they usually do there, but I've heard it's absolutely normal just between the colleagues there in Sweden, as it helps them to make sure that somebody is getting an equal pay. This situation is slightly bit different in Norway. It is considered impolite to ask Norwegian how much money he earns. This is not because he will not tell you, but because this is unnecessary attempt to start a conversation. And Norwegian people don't like unnecessary conversations so much. In Norway, everyone knows how much money everyone else makes, because they've already checked it on the government tax website. And nevertheless, Norwegians love talking about money, particularly about the costs of buying or renovating their house, mountain hut or a boat. Most of these conversations are usually focused on how expensive everything is, because everything is really expensive in Norway. Foreigners, especially those who are coming to Norway for the first time, are usually shocked with the prices in Norway, especially the prices on food and alcohol drinks. Yes, McDonald's in Nordic countries is absolutely amazing. I highly recommend you trying it when you're coming to Norway or Sweden. It's amazing. But let's find out what's the price. In Stockholm, for exactly the same meal in McDonald's with quarter pounder, I paid £8 43 pence, and here in Oslo I paid for exactly the same thing £12 and 16. Wow, that's kind of a massive difference. Wow, but still, it's so tasty. Another one to discuss with you: never be late or too early for an appointment. There is only few other things that would annoy both Norwegians and Swedish more than people being late. Trust me on this. Before I moved to Norway, I used to live in England and then in Italy. And I was quite confused why people giving me this look when I'm fashionably late for 20 minutes. Yes, being fashionably late in Scandinavia looked upon as a weird and really bad foreign habit in both Sweden and Norway. Swedish people brought everything to a completely different level. In Sweden, you're also not supposed to be too early for the party. I've even heard some stories that some people on their way to the party, when they feel that they're going to be too early, they stopping the car and waiting for extra 10 or 20 minutes just to make sure they're not too early. So guys, when you're visiting Scandinavia, punctuality is a key for both personal arrangements and also absolutely for business meetings. And what are you doing here? What exactly are you planning? Another super cool habit shared between Norwegians and Swedish: always take your shoes off when you're entering somebody's house here. The reason behind this habit is quite simple: the weather outside. Can you imagine taking these shoes inside the house after being here? Gross. Yay! You will be pleasantly surprised how muddy your shoes will look like after you take a walk outside, especially winter months. Just take them off. Take them off. Another super little hint: if you travel around Nordic countries, I know this tradition exists in Norway, and now I see exactly the same thing here in Sweden. Guys, if you lose something like your hat or your glove on your way, just remember the exact route you took and did it again. Most probably you will find your glove, yeah, attached to the pole somewhere on your way. Another thing I find fascinating and so similar between Swedish and Norwegian people: they both speak English so well. And there are at least two reasons behind it. Nordic people understand how important English is for their kids, for their future life, as it will open many more doors for them when they look for a job if they speak a perfect English. And that's why Nordic people start learning English from a very young age at school. And also in Norway and in Sweden we have lots of TV channels and TV programs coming from America or the UK, and they're not dubbed, so we're listening and watching them in a regional language English. So this is for you guys if you're traveling to Scandinavia for the first time, to Norway or to Sweden, and you're worried that you don't speak the local language. Don't you worry, we will perfectly understand you here. And let's finish this video with one more super cool similarity. No matter the Norwegian and Swedish keep making all these jokes about each other, still both nations, both Norwegians and Swedish, they're so kind and friendly people. When you're traveling to both Norway or Sweden, don't forget that small talk is not a big culture here, but if you really need help and you approach any stranger, I guarantee they will try to help you as much as they can. I know sometimes it might seem like Norwegian and Swedish people are rivals or enemies, but it's not true. Guys, we're neighbors, we're cousins, and it's our very strange Nordic way to express our love to each other. We even have a little joke here in Norway. When you go to the bar, pray for the barman to be Swedish. It will guarantee a great Friday night for you. Thank you so much guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. My major question now, which country you personally prefer, Sweden or Norway? And why? Please let me know in the comments down below. Let's find out all together. Stay safe, be happy. See you later guys. Bye. Bye for now.